Hey, General Psych students. First, I want to welcome you to this course. My name is Dr. Robin Miller, and I will be your instructor. And so in this kind of welcome message, I'm going to be going over a lot of information. So please feel free to stop and pause if you need to take a break. But I'm pretty sure that I will answer probably 99.9% of anyone's questions. And if not, please feel free to message me and we can either, correspond by email or we can set up an individual Teams meeting. Okay, so what I like to preface initially is that this is your landing page, just a little tiny bit about me and my background. I also teach the basic counseling skills class. So if you are interested in exploring therapy and maybe becoming a clinician, I also teach that one online. All right, so the two major buttons that I tell students to really focus on are not all of this stuff. Students want to usually immediately go to assignments or the calendar. That's totally okay. But the way that I set up my course, I tell students all of the time the most important is the modules and the syllabus. The modules are going to show you everything, all of, the due dates in order. And then the syllabus, the simple syllabus is going to go over, I put in all the due dates when the week starts, what is going on in that week, and everything that is due. So this is your landing page. And again, I'm going to go through everything and hopefully answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to skip to the announcements. Now, what I will say based on history is that so many students do not look at my announcements. And if you're asking me questions or emailing me about something and I've already gone over it because I'm very communicative, I will refer you back to the announcements. I will ask, did you read my announcements? Please go back and read them or watch the video. I will tend to either, put a message out on the announcement via text, or I will do, a video message like this. So my first one is the welcome message. So if you click on this, I'm actually going to read this to you because I'm going to go over it. So hello everyone, welcome to the course. I'll be posting a personal video. That's what I'm doing now. All questions should be answered if you watch my welcome video, which is this. Just briefly, I used to hold live sessions during the first week of, class. But what I found was that out of maybe 25 students, maybe 5 or 7 would show up. So I kind of stopped doing that and decided to just do a whole recording, and this way everyone has the opportunity to view this. So if you have any questions that I haven't answered, then just message me. All right, so you'll notice the things that I bold, I do that for emphasis, bolding or capitalizing. And this is because I have tended to deal with some issues in the past when it comes to students not kind of listening to my guidance or my messages. So the one thing I will preface is that it is vital to look at announcements. I send them to keep you updated, to give you information related to assignments or even changes in the schedule, anything that might be important for you. So if I get emails that are asking me things that I have already gone over, maybe in an email or on the announcements, again, I'm going to refer you back to that. All right, so let's see. Please be proactive in checking this page and your inbox. Also, many questions I get is, do I offer extra credit? The simple answer is yes, I do. I only offer extra credit by watching my lectures. So week 1, if you have, let's say it's chapter 1, 2, and 3, depending on the term. So it might be just chapter 1 and 2. It might be chapter 1, 2, and 3. So in my lecture, I will offer extra credit. And in some lectures, I will offer 1, 2, 3 opportunities. And some it might be only one. Some it might be up to 5. It just depends, because when I'm lecturing, I'm trying to be organic as possible because, it's boring talking to yourself. And some of the chapters are boring and I just have to get through them. So I will, offer some insight and I'll say, hey, for extra credit, tell me this. And when I'm asking for that, I will want you to send me that in an email. And what I want you to do is wait until the entire lecture is over. So if I offer, let's just say I offer extra credit in chapter 1 and I offer 3 opportunities for extra credit, but you only email me 1, then there is no extra credit. So you have to listen to the entire lecture and then let me know all the areas that I offered extra credit, and you'll get extra credit for all of that. And then what I do is I put that in a document where I will tally basically the student's name and every time they did extra credit. When it comes to the end of the semester, let's say, you struggled on the APA paper. Well, to make up for that, all the opportunities you had for extra credit, you're going to earn that back. I do that at the end of the semester. So just know that if you hear some extra credit, 2 minutes into the lecture and then think that you can stop, no, because I'm not going to tell you where the extra credit is. So I hate to be repetitive, but I really want to preface that if you're going to listen to the lectures for extra credit, you have to watch all of it. Also, what did I want to say about the extra credit on that? I may have to pause and think. So I remembered what it was. So if we are in week 1 and the lectures, whatever lectures are in week 1, that is when you have to email me, okay, so in this part of the lecture, this is what you said. Now, if we're in week 6, you cannot go back to week 1 because you feel like, oh no, my grade is slipping. It has to be the week that we are in. So week 1, whatever goes with that. Week 2, we don't get to the end of the semester and then you're watching all of these lectures and then inundating me with all of these extra credit opportunities. So it's week by week. All right, here we go. Let's see. Also, I do not, under any circumstance, accept work through email. Every semester, I still get students that email me work when it's late. And I tell the student, because I say it at the beginning of the semester, under no circumstance do I accept any work via email. We're not even supposed to do that. Maybe some people do. I do not. Things need to go through Canvas. So please do not assume that if you are late that I'm going to accept it through email, because I'm not going to. I only accept late work if there is a good reason. Poor time management is not a good reason. When you're a college student, whether you work, have kids, single parent, I know, I've been there, I've done that, and I still got my work in on time. If there is a circumstance that warrants you turning in something late, you must email me first and let me know, ask me, and then I will let you know how to turn the work in through Canvas, through the comment section, but not through email. So again, if I do accept it, I will explain how to do it, not through email. All right, here are assignments that are not accepted late. So discussion post or your SmartBook quizzes. Now, the discussion post, you have to answer your part of the post. And the reason that you have to respond to a learner, that is an EFSC requirement because it is an online course. So if you're taking an online course, they require that you have communication with each other. So I like to make it simple for my students rather than making you do like group projects or group work together, how I do that is through the discussion post. So let's just say you wait till the 11th hour, meaning 11:50 something, to do your discussion post, and you do not comment to a learner or to a peer, then you'll get credit for your part of the post, but not for the response since it was not completed. An issue I sometimes have that I like to let people know from the get-go is that, let's say you are the first one to turn your discussion post in. So obviously you can't respond yet to anyone because they haven't turned it in. I like to be proactive in my grading. I'm very busy. I run a private practice. Also, I teach classes here. So if a student turns in something early, I like to grade it and get it done. And I will always leave a comment. I'm very communicative in all work, whether it's discussion post, activities, your paper, I'm going to leave comments. So I will say, you're getting graded for your portion. Once you are able to respond to a peer, I will go back and then add to the grade. I get students every semester that says, you graded this and I haven't had a chance to post to a peer. I know that. I know that. You have until 11:59 on Sunday. Here's something that is kind of pet peeve of mine. If someone leaves a comment on your discussion post, they may ask a question. So on the rubric, I say, we're not just giving one sentence answers. So look at the rubric, look for my expectations. I'm very clear about what I'm looking for, as far as, how to respond to someone. Maybe you leave your own insight. Maybe you ask a question. Maybe you add to their post or give insight. If someone asks you a question, please go back and answer them. Now I know for my last minute people, there are I have students that procrastinate and wait until the very last minute to post to a peer. If you're going to do that, then please do not ask a question, because it's going to close out at midnight and they can't go back and answer it because the discussion post closes out. As far as the SmartBook quizzes, that is the one thing I do open up at the beginning of the semester, so you can do all of them if you want to. I open those up all at once, and those are graded automatically. So if you answer and you pass it, then you're automatically going to get full credit for that. So as long as you're getting most of them correct, you automatically get full credit. The SmartBook quizzes are kind of mandatory by Eastern Florida. It's not my way of kind of getting you, but it is a requirement that you have to do. So I can either choose this, or I can choose like group activities or other activities. And I find that the SmartBook quizzes are the easiest thing to do. When you open them up, some people just like to try to guess. And trust me, it will make you do it again and do it again, and it'll rearrange the questions until you get it right. So my suggestion is, when you open up the SmartBook, it brings up your textbook as well. It will even highlight the area the answer is in. It may not give you the exact answer, but it's going to give you the general area of where that answer is by highlighting it. So just take your time the first time, answer the questions, get it done, and move on. Those are really easy ways to get your grades, are discussion posts and SmartBook. But again, we try not to wait until the last minute because those do not open back up. All right, let's see. Yeah, SmartBook, they're each due during that week. So you still have to turn them in on time. But if you want to get ahead and do all of them, by all means, knock yourself out and do it. All right. When I post the I'm doing that now. So, I just end by saying I love teaching psych. It was my major in college years ago. It was my very first professor, Dr. Stein, and he taught general psych when it was called BCC. And I fell in love with psychology because of how he taught it. I took it in person, so I really loved it so much that it became my major. And then 15 years down the road, I was teaching psychology at Eau Gallie High School. And I decided I wanted to be a therapist because he also was a psychologist in his private practice and taught at Eastern. And I never forgot him. So I reached out to him 15 years later. He remembered me. He started, guest speaking at my classes. And then I was like, I want to be a therapist. And long story bearable, I was lecturing one day and I told my students, at Eau Gallie that I wanted to be a therapist. They were like, yeah, you should do that. So I ended up doing that. And then Dr. Stein mentored me. I ended up going into his practice and then I ended up opening up my own. So it was a very full circle moment. And the reason I did that was because of my passion for psychology because of him. So it's definitely contagious. I have a lot of students from my past, from high school and college, that have changed their majors to psych because they also fell in love with it. Um, Not expecting everyone to do that, but again, psychology is very applicable to every career. So I love to teach about it. All right, now I'm going to go back to, again, landing page. So home, first day, this is going to be, I get a lot of people that'll say like, I can't find my textbook. First day is the link that has to be active for you to get your online textbook. If you have an issue with it, there's information under the modules section. So just remember modules, that is the go-to. So we're going to go there first. When you click on modules, it's going to bring you to this page. So this is kind of welcome, please read. And then this is support information for IT and your textbook. If you're having any problems, please go to this first. All right, APA. Now I'm going to explain this because a lot of people will ask me, where are the directions? I don't know where it's at. So everything that you're going to need to know is going to be here. So APA tutorials, if you click on this, it's going to give you a bunch of stuff. This shows you how to reference. Here's some APA tips and tricks for a research paper. This is APA paper 1. This is going to be your directions. Now, I'm going to go back to this because we're going to look at the syllabus. Here is a template that I give students to make it so easy for you that you do not have to recreate the wheel. I'm going to do a separate tutorial on how to set up your APA paper. I won't do that in this, but everything you need is here. APA paper 2, it's going to be a research case analysis paper. Directions with rubric are here. So if you want to get ahead, go ahead and look at this because it's not going to be in assignments where you're going to see the directions because they're here under APA resources. So go ahead and, become familiar with that. I also will give you an example paper of what your research paper should look like, and I will give you an example for paper 1. The difference between APA 1 and APA 2 is that the first one is just an intro. You're not doing any research. It's just an introductory about yourself. The directions are there, so I'm not going to go over that. With APA paper 2, that's where you're going to be citing and referencing. So you need, if you're not familiar with APA, it's important to become familiar with APA because we're moving more towards that. So we're not doing like, works cited, we're doing references. So a lot of people get kind of caught up in, putting their name on the right-hand corner. We do not do that in APA. Again, I'll explain that later. All right, so if we are scrolling down, you will see week 1, August 17th, what's going to be due is Smart Book 1 and your first discussion post. Now, right now, you do not see the lecture or the chapter. So I will be posting the lectures and the chapter. If you have any doubt and you can't find something, you can always go to files and find anything that you need. Usually I'm going to post the lectures week by week. Sometimes I post them ahead of time, but I will more than likely post all of the, PowerPoint, the still PowerPoints. So as you can see, week 1, you've got your SmartBook and discussion post. Week 2, you're going to do activity 1. You have 4 activities. So the first one you're going to do is sensation and perception activity. I give you an example of what it should look like. So this is a previous example from work that's already been done. You can use this as your template. So you can open it up, delete the information, and then put your own in. Use this as an example. If I get the paper and it's completely wrong, I'm going to give it back to you as a 0. I'm going to give you the opportunity to redo it if you're not turning it in at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. The reason I do this APA style is to get you familiar with APA because it's going to be important that you know how to do it. All right, so you'll have discussion, board 2, activity 1, chapter 3, SmartBook. There's going to be a couple chapters where there are no SmartBooks. So it's okay. You don't need to email me and ask me if I missed it or if I left it out. There are a couple chapters where there are no SmartBooks. So if it's not there, it means there isn't one. So as you can see, if you just go to the modules, you'll see the week that it is and the due dates for everything. I like to be very, particular when it comes to, your work and expectations. So as you will see down here, APA paper 1 will be due on October 4th. So when you click on that, all it's going to give you is this is the Dropbox. So you're not going to find the directions for this because that's not where the directions are. The directions are, let's back to modules. So like I said, your directions are going to be here. So paper 1 and paper 2 directions are here. So now let's get to simple syllabus because this is kind of where everything is at. Now I'm not going to read all of this word for word. We're already 22 minutes in. Okay, so as you can see, this is your class, General Psych 1. Here are the dates. Here's your credit hours. Again, this may not be your particular course. This is the hybrid course, which actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my dashboard and I'm going to click on just one of the classes so that it's specifically related to online. I teach multiple classes, so it doesn't matter which, all right, it's going to be the same type of information. All right, so this is going to say XWeb because this is an online course. It's going to give you prerequisites and, description of the course. I like to bold things that I like to emphasize. So please take the time to read this. Again, I discuss a little bit about paper 1 and 2. This is, information about me, how you can reach me via email. Now, remember to email me through Canvas email, not Outlook. If you're emailing me through Outlook, I may not see it for a couple days. But if you email me through your Canvas, I'm going to see it daily because I'm checking that daily. So always make sure to correspond with me through Canvas. These are advising hours. So if you need to talk to me, these are the typical advising hours. Just shoot me an email and we can meet, or we can meet outside of this time. I'm not strict on this time whatsoever. So if this doesn't work for you, no worries at all. All right, this is your text. So this is the text that you should have. Sometimes people, when they're doing their final, I notice that they are working out of the old textbook. Make sure that you are looking at the textbook that has 14 chapters, and it's not, so the chapter that has to do with mental health, basically, that is called Variations in Mental Health. It is no longer called the psychological disorders chapter. So if that is the book you're looking at, that is the incorrect book. So you want to make sure you are looking at the one with the 2025 release date. All right, so your core learning expectations, these are the competencies and core abilities that you're going to learn in this class. As far as attendance and participation, you can click on this link and it's going to give you everything you need to know. These are the kind of rules for the course as far as attendance and participation. Class participating reporting, it is very important that you attend the first week. So it's important that you are turning in work. If not, I have to send in a report that no work has been done. So therefore you're absent and you will be dropped from the class. So it's really important week one that you are showing up, because that is how they are looking at your financial aid or any type of assistance, any grants, scholarships. So make sure you are doing your work. All right, college level communication and computational skills requirement. Anything you need to know about that, this is a core elective. So what I will say about that is that this is not a class that you can just pass with a D. You have to pass this course with a C in order for it to count. So the requirements, there's writing to this. So how I break up my writing and meeting that standard is through communication and discussion posts and in your writing assignments. Grading procedures. So everything, I have all of the points on here. Your APA paper 1 is 50 points. The second case analysis paper is worth 100 points. The SmartBook quizzes there's 12 of them, and they're 25 points apiece. Discussion posts, there's 10 at 25. The activities, there are 4 of those at 25. Then you've got your midterm and your final, and those are worth 100 each. So there are very easy ways to get your grades so that if you're struggling on your APA paper, you can still get a very good grade in the course, especially if you are doing extra credit. All right, grading scale is on percentages. So the grading scale is very easy. A, 90 to 100, B, 80 to 89, and so forth. All right, late or makeup work. I kind of went through that in the beginning. I do understand there are circumstances, but again, make no assumptions and assume that you can email me late work. I do not accept that. And again, nothing through Outlook. So if something is going on, again, I have a heart. I do accept late work when it's not habitual and when there is a reason. And again, work and poor management is not a valid reason. And again, I emphasize bold red things so that you know. Okay, so for all assignments below, I give nice brief descriptions about them. So the SmartBook concepts, this is kind of like the snapshot of that, your discussion boards, the activities. And then under the activities, these are the 4 activities you will do. Very, very simple. APA paper 1, 2, midterm, and final. So I like to give a nice brief description about all of the assignments. And here's the main thing. This is the syllabus that I have made. So you will automatically know. I don't know why it's like this. That's just, maybe it's because of the font size. All right, week 1 is August 17th, right? 2026 for this course. If you're looking at this, I may not want to, for next term, I may not want to recreate this video again. So it may be, next semester, you're looking at these dates going, hey, wait, this is not correct. So in this term that I'm in, fall of 2026, the dates you will see is August 17th is when the class date starts. And then the due date is always going to be at 11:59 p.m. on that, Sunday. So whatever the class date is, look at that. So on your syllabus, if it's not this one, because I'm pre-recording this, the start date is going to be on your syllabus, and then the due date is over here. So in week 1, you're going to see for fall that you've got Chapter 1, that's going to be the science of psychology. You're going to have your SmartBook quiz to do and your discussion post, and then instructions provided for paper 1 are under those modules. So again, that's just instructions, it's not due. So everything that's going to be due at 11:59 p.m. on that given due date is going to be the SmartBook and discussion post. Moving to the next one is going to be chapters 2 and 3. You'll be responsible for doing SmartBook chapter 3 because there isn't one for chapter 2, and then your discussion board for your discussion board 2, and then your first activity, which is sensation and perception. So again, if you're wondering when is this due, always look at the right-hand column to see when that due date is. All right, moving on. You will notice that you'll see when APA paper is due. So for fall 2026, you're going to notice that it's due, 10/4/26. If we're in spring term and this is a pre-recorded video, obviously I'm not going to do a whole other new video, just for this part. You're just going to look at your current syllabus and look at your due date. So again, it's always going to be the week of class, the due date. And I emphasize your paper. So scroll, look at the syllabus, and you can always tell when APA paper 1 is due. And if you scroll down, when APA paper 2 is due. So I'm very explicit on things. I kind of like to kind of bold and use different colors. Midterm is going to be halfway through the course. And obviously in an online course, I open it on that Monday and it's open the entire week. It's multiple choice. And once you open it, you have to keep it open, but it's not timed. So if you open it and it takes you hours, that's okay, as long as your computer does not time out. But if you leave it, then it's going to. So just make sure that if you decide to do it on Thursday, that when you open it, don't close it out. If you do it on Sunday, make sure you give yourself enough time to complete it. And then your final exam is a written response. So they are going to be 5 essay style questions. The directions are very explicit. So you will, again, it will not be timed, and you can use the resources that are at your disposal. Now, I did not put the due date here, so on your syllabus, it will be there. All right, moving forward, again, calendar of assignments. It shows you if you're, wanting to look at that, everything is detailed for you, and it's all according to your semester's date. So if this is going to be a future semester, again, the dates will be correct. And then moving down, I talk about plagiarism and academic dishonesty. So in your APA paper, a lot of people use AI. I know that. I know what it looks like. I know how to, look for those signs. Just make sure that you are citing and referencing APA paper 2. If not, I'm going to send it back. If you turn it in early, you're going to have the opportunity to redo it. But just know that if your plagiarism score is 25% or more, you can be removed from the course and it turned in for plagiarism. So just be careful when you are turning in your paper, paper 2. Paper 1 is written all in first person. So as long as you're not citing something, I like to say just work easy. If you try not to put any, citations or references in there, or not to use someone else's work, speak in first person, because if you do that, you're going to have to cite and reference. So make your paper 1 easy. It's just an intro paper about you. Okay, this is academic integrity. Click on that link if you want to, if you want to know more. The student code of conduct, click on that link. It's going to let you know. As far as withdrawal policy, click on that. You'll learn when the withdrawal date is. I highly suggest, if you are going through the course and you're like, I'm overwhelmed, I just, I cannot do it this semester, make sure you withdraw It's much better to withdraw with a W than continue to get zeros and get an F. That lowers your GPA and affects your maybe scholarship or financial aid. So it's better to withdraw than to, get an F. SAIL, student access for improved learning. So if you have an accommodation, here's all the information for that. If you need to get in touch with the SAIL office, this is the email for that. Any additional policies I wrote in there. As a reminder, communication takes place through Canvas email, not Outlook. Any extensions must be approved by the instructor, which is me, unless there is an accommodation that is documented. Due dates are all listed under the outline section of this page. Again, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out and message me. And then if you click on the syllabus addendum, it's going to bring up any possible question or any possible link for any question you might have. So I really made sure that this was very detailed for you, so that you have no questions about due dates, about expectations, about anything. All right, so again, this is kind of, the module's main focus. So first day textbook, simple syllabus if you want to go that route, modules, my announcements, very important, check them. Put your notifications on so that you get my announcements. If you want to look at assignments link, go ahead. Documents, go ahead. Grades, obviously. People in your class, click on that. You can see who's in your class. But when we get down to here, there's no need to worry about looking at any of these. Okay, so let me go back to the modules and let's just kind of look at sensation and perception example. So in this example, I am giving you what it looks like in APA. So you have to have the page number on the right corner. Again, you're not putting your last name. That is MLA. This is APA. This is the correct way to set up APA. So you'll notice the only extra space in APA is from the title to your name. This is a double space. Everything else is going to be double spaced all the way through. Make sure there's no extra spacing in between paragraphs, that everything is double spaced. So you'll put your name. This is just, I took the person's name out. You'll put your name so you can use this as a template, download it, enable editing, open it up, backspace out, and then this stays the same. Please do not change. This is exactly how it needs to look as far as formatting. Your name will go here. Department of Psychology, Eastern Florida State College. That's what it needs to look like. PSY 2012, General Psychology. That's what it needs to look like. We're not changing that. Dr. Robin Z. Miller, that's what it needs to look like. You put your instructor or professor's professional name. If it's doctor, it's always going to be doctor, whoever, what they go by. If it is their name, you're just going to put their name. So if I didn't have a doctorate, it would just be Robin Z. Miller. That's my professional name. We're not in APA, we're not putting instructor, we're not putting professor, we're not putting Mr. or Mrs. It's just going to be their name. Again, this is not a me rule, this is APA. And then as far as date, this is where a lot of students end up kind of messing this up. This is just when this was done. The date is always with APA. It's going to be the due date. So the date it's due, not the date you turned it in. So if you turn it in early, doesn't matter. It's still the due date. If you turn it in late, doesn't matter. It's the due date. Those are APA guidelines. So, and it has to be like this. So it's the month, the day, there's no TH, so it's not the 25th, it's not the 3rd RD, it's just the number, comma, and the year. So make sure we're not doing like 01/25/2026. APA is just like this. You move on to page 2. Again, it's done. I've already set it up. You'll notice everything is double spaced, no extra spacing. So when they did this activity. I chose the smell bottle activities for the sensation and perception activity because it is an engaging activity to teach children about their senses while smelling various scents. Now, that is not any time in APA you cite something that is not your original idea or common knowledge, you must cite it immediately. So if you're going to cite it at the end of the sentence, this is how it looks. So there's no period here. You're going to put the period outside of the parentheses. Now, this isn't about me being a stickler. This is APA rules. So make sure you're following format. So it's always going to be the author's last name, comma, and the year of publication. If you have two authors, it's going to be blank and the and symbol and blank, comma, the year. If it's three or more authors, it's going to be the author and then et al. And then the year. So I give you all the resources you need to properly reference and cite. So now they go on to say children can engage in this activity in any order, and they can do this in various ways. Again, they don't have to cite again because they're still using this same reference. When they're done with this thought, they then end the citation. So in the next sentence, because it relates to sensation and perception, so you have to connect that, through receiving the smell from the bottles, this would be where the sensation information is transformed. So they cited a textbook, a former textbook. Through perception, the children can make sense of the various smells, whether strong or weak, through organizing the sensory information and being able to interpret the different smells. And then they end. They have given me their activity, and they've answered the questions. Now, I will also put up another one that has more, that's more detailed. So I will give another example of an activity. All right, so that is that. And then this is the references. This is how it should look. Again, everything is double spaced, no extra spacing, in alphabetical order with a hanging indent. So you just want to make sure this is how it is formatted. Again, if it's not, I'm going to kick it back and ask you to fix it. My rule, if you wait till 11:59 and I have no chance to look at it, then I'm not going to let you redo it. If you email me and say, hey, can you check this out and see if I'm going in the right direction, then I'll take a look at it and I will let you know. All right, so back to modules. Again, I cannot emphasize enough, the directions for APA paper 1 and 2 are here. And then everything else is here. Assignments will open up week by week. So if you're not seeing anything and it's blank, that's because I've published everything, but your assignments are not going to open up until that week. Like I said, the only one you can do ahead of time to actually turn in are the SmartBook activities or the quizzes. You can get ahead and start your paper 1 and paper 2, but you can only turn them in when the Dropbox opens. As far as discussion posts and activities, they open week by week. And the reason is that I teach multiple classes. I'm not going to get inundated with a bunch of work ahead of time because it can be overwhelming. You are one student, I am grading many students. So I also do that for you because I want you to not be anxious and overwhelmed with all of this stuff, to do. I like things to be done week by week. So the gift I give is allowing you to do the SmartBook quizzes. So that is that. This is all of everything. And again, the final is at the bottom. I am done going through this. So again, I was gonna do the home. So this is the landing page. Again, super important modules, syllabus. That's the main thing. If I have not covered any, something that you had a question with, again, please feel free to message me. I'm really glad I kept this under 45 minutes. I was aiming for 30, but sometimes I can just talk. Anyways, I absolutely look forward to working with all of you. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out. Again, I leave comments on all of your work, not just some of your work. So if you turn in meaningful work, I am going to comment on that. So, oops, I went over a little 45. So, all right. Have a great semester. I look forward to working with you. And again, reach out to me anytime and we will talk throughout the semester. All right. Peace.